If I told you there was a magic number that showed up in old buildings, architecture, math, in art, in your fingerprint, in the sunflower, in the galaxy, in all these things, would you believe me? Okay, we're of course talking about the Fibonacci sequence, the fingerprint of God, as they like to call it, the golden ratio. The Fibonacci sequence starts out with 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, and so on and so on. It's where you take the last two numbers and you add them together to create the next number in the sequence. This creates the golden ratio. Each number is the sum of the two before it. Now, where does the ratio come involved with this? If you take the last number and divide it by the next number, then that means that you get phi, or something very close to it. The whole relates to the big part the same way that the small relates to the whole, if that makes sense. Builders have used this ratio for centuries, and we've only abandoned it in the past 100 years. We can sometimes see the scale turning up in a day-to-day construction, but that's only through a slight whisper of the past, of certain measurements and why particular architraves are certain sizes, and you might use a skirting for this type of room. But ultimately, builders used to use this to be able to construct the whole house and be able to scale it. When you look at old homes like miners' cottages and these places, you know, what height did they set the chair rail? What height was the door? What height was the wainscoting? What heights were the windows at in proportion to the whole room? What size were the windows? What size were the little squares inside of those windows? They are all related to this golden ratio. What size architraves should you use for a certain door opening? How tall should the door be in relation to the width of the door? They used to apply this in every aspect of building. Renaissance thinkers were obsessed with this idea. Da Vinci, he blew his mind. You know that drawing he did of, like, you know, the man with many arms and the big circles and all that? Yeah, that's him freaking out about how he discovered that the golden ratio is also all over the human body. You can particularly see this on his work, Divina Proportion. Now look, it was a general guide, it was a general principle that they always used, but there's a reason why they used this, and the Renaissance thinkers would put so much emphasis, and when they're building these beautiful buildings, the reason that we find them so beautiful is because there's the golden ratio all over the human body, and we find the human, like, you know, as people, we find the most beautiful thing to look at is people. So these architects knew what they were doing because they were creating beauty by imitating the image of man, which ultimately is made in the image of God. So this whole link between architecture representing the divine as well as remaining beautiful for the everyday person means that they are universally beautiful. And when they've abandoned these principles, that's when you can see that buildings become drab and boring and uniquely stylized rather than just plain beautiful. You mix the golden ratio in with craftsmanship and you get some beautiful buildings. So next time you go to see a beautiful church when you're traveling, or you see an incredible governmental building that was made a long time ago, something like that, look at it. Look at the scale, look at the proportions, look at the columns. These things all set the tone of the whole entire structure. It's quite incredible once you start looking for it. So comment some buildings below you want me to look at and highlight this golden ratio with. And like and share this video if you want to bring beautiful back.